Whispers of Pilgrim and Edgewood, Echoes from the Forgotten. Part 1, The Colossus of Care. The hospital was named after Dr. Charles W. Pilgrim, who was the New York State Commissioner of Mental Health. The sprawling grounds of Pilgrim State Hospital loomed over Long Island like a forgotten era. But then, it was a testament to an era's battle with mental illness, a monument to both the enlightened and the misguided attempts at treatment. In the 1930s, New York's mental health care was bursting at the seams. Summer of 1945, Edgewood Insane Asylum grounds. The solution was grandiose, a hospital that could be a city unto itself, a self-sufficient entity where healing was promised to the thousands who would walk its halls. Pilgrim State was more than a hospital. It was a society, complete with its own power supply, security force, and even a railway connection. Its vast network of tunnels, a circulatory system beneath the earth, was a marvel of engineering, a hidden realm where the boundaries between the living and the spectral blurred. Yet, the grandeur masked a grim reality. Behind the facade, the hospital was a crucible of experimentation. Here, the human mind was both studied and subdued. Treatments, now viewed as archaic and cruel, were the order of the day: lobotomies, shock therapy, and regimes that would leave lasting scars on the fabric of mental health history. Part 2, The Veiled Depths. The story delves deeper into the enigma of Pilgrim State Hospital, unraveling the layers shrouded in both history and hearsay. As the world outside went through the throes of the Great Depression and then the upheavals of World War II, Pilgrim State stood as a world apart, growing into the largest psychiatric facility of its time in the world with more than 16,000 patients at its peak. The hospital's underground tunnels, a network sprawling beneath the vast campus, tell a story of their own. Initially designed for utility and transport, they became the subject of whispered legends, a shadowy world where the line between reality and the paranormal blurred. Staff and patients spoke of unexplained noises echoing through these corridors, of fleeting shadows that seemed to have a life of their own. Above ground, the hospital was a hive of activity, but not all was as it seemed. The treatments, heralded as progressive, often tread a fine line between therapy and trauma. Methods like electroconvulsive therapy and insulin shock, where doctors would induce seizures in patients, were commonplace. These new methods of care were seen as beacons of hope in an era with limited understanding of mental illness. But the dark side of these treatments left indelible marks on those who underwent them. Many did not make the experiments, and were laid to rest on the grounds outside as unmarked graves litter the hospital cemetery, a stark reminder of the many unclaimed lives that ended within Pilgrim's walls. This grave, like so many others, holds stories untold, lives unremembered. An estimated 10,000 lives lost. Part 3, Echoes from the Forgotten. The tale of Pilgrim State Hospital continues to unfurl in the third part of our series, venturing into the heart of its most haunting and controversial practices. The hospital, in its quest to pioneer mental health treatments, became a ground for experimentation, where the line between care and cruelty often blurred. The focus shifts to the notorious prefrontal lobotomies performed in the Central Medical Building. Here, in the sterilized but intimidating operating rooms, the hospital's surgeons reshaped the very essence of the human mind. The procedures, though initially hailed as breakthroughs, eventually garnered infamy for their drastic and often tragic outcomes. As the narrative delves deeper into the lobotomy era, we uncover the stories of those subjected to these procedures. The voices of the past, once silenced by medical intervention, echo through the abandoned halls, painting a vivid picture of the era's desperation and the extreme measures taken in the name of treatment. But Pilgrim State's story isn't just one of despair. Amidst the shadows of its history, there are tales of resilience. The staff and patients found ways to bring light into the darkness, forming bonds and communities in the face of overwhelming odds. Part 4, the war within. As World War II engulfed the globe, the hospital experienced a transformation. Its impact is profound and far-reaching. Mason General Hospital, an adjunct facility within Pilgrim's expansive grounds. This is Mason General Hospital in Deer Park, New York. You can see Comac Road running left, north to south. Originally envisioned as an additional psychiatric hospital, it was repurposed as a treatment center for soldiers suffering from the psychological traumas of war, a condition we now recognize as PTSD. The hospital provided crucial care for soldiers returning from the front lines, helping them reintegrate into society. On the other, it continued its controversial treatments on civilian patients. The hospital's practices evolved, but the shadow of its more radical treatments looms large. To promote good spirits for the soldiers, Helen Keller visited Mason General Hospital on June 22, 1944, when the facility was utilized by the U.S. Army to treat returning soldiers. Keller addressed a group of veterans, sharing her message of resilience and triumph over adversity. Her words, emphasizing the power of perseverance, offered hope and encouragement to those facing the challenges of their war experiences. Her presence at the hospital is a testament to its multifaceted role in history, not only as a site of medical treatment but also as a place of profound human connection and inspiration. Documentary, Let There Be Light, by John Huston, filmed at Mason General Hospital. While the documentary was suppressed for many years, its eventual release offered a stark, unflinching look at the effects of war on the human psyche. Rumors among doctors claim there are German prisoners of war held captive in Mason General Hospital. Part 5. The Twilight of Illusions. As we delve deeper into the history of Pilgrim State Hospital, we unravel the waning years of the hospital's once colossal presence and the mysterious occurrences that persisted. The narrative shifts to the 1960s and 70s, a period marked by significant changes in mental health care. The hospital, once the pinnacle of psychiatric treatment, faces the harsh reality of evolving medical practices and societal shifts. The introduction of pharmaceutical treatments marks the beginning of the end for methods like lobotomy and electroconvulsive therapy, which Pilgrim State had notoriously administered on at least known 2,000 patients. Amidst these changes, the hospital's sprawling campus becomes a haven for unsettling tales. Staff and patients report inexplicable events, strange apparitions in the wards, unaccounted shadows in the corridors, and eerie whispers echoing through the abandoned tunnels. These stories, dismissed by some as mere figments of troubled minds, are believed by others to be manifestations of the hospital's turbulent past. In this atmosphere of transition and mystery, the hospital becomes a focal point for paranormal investigators and curious locals, drawn by the allure of its haunted reputation. A chilling exploration through the now desolate parts of the hospital is where reality and the supernatural seem to blur. Pilgrim State, the once majestic institution now a shadow of its former self. Part 6. The Echoes of Edgewood. Edgewood State Hospital, a subsidiary of Pilgrim State with its own tales of the strange and paranormal. Constructed during the same era as Pilgrim State, Edgewood started as an extension but soon developed its own dark legacy. During World War II, Edgewood's buildings served a new purpose, catering to the needs of soldiers returning from war, adding layers to its history. In the post-war years, Edgewood, much like Pilgrim State, became the subject of radical treatments and psychiatric practices. But it was the closure and subsequent abandonment of Edgewood that sparked a surge of ghostly tales. The empty buildings, once bustling with life, now stood as silent sentinels to a bygone era, their hallways rumored to be haunted by the spirits of past patients. As we draw parallels between the fates of these two institutions, both were landmarks in psychiatric history, each with its own haunting legacy. Part 7. Legacy in Shadows. Pilgrim State Hospital, now a mere echo of its former self. The focus shifts to the modern day, where the colossal institution has been significantly downsized, its once vast reach now diminished. The hospital's transformation reflects the evolution of mental health care. The once prevalent practices of lobotomy and electroshock therapy are now relics of a bygone era, replaced by more humane treatments and an emphasis on community-based care. Yet, the shadows of Pilgrim State's past continue to loom large. The abandoned sections of the hospital have become a magnet for paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers, drawn by tales of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena. Accounts of eerie occurrences in the old wards, the tunnels, and the derelict buildings of Edgewood add a chilling dimension to the hospital's history. Pilgrim State and its sister institutions learn a great deal when it comes to our understanding of mental illness. Employees and patients, their stories, a complex blend of ambition, tragedy, and hope, have left an indelible mark on history. The late 70s and early 80s was the end of Pilgrim State Hospital's legacy. The abandoned structures of Mason General became a canvas for the restless energy of local youth. The vacant buildings, with their haunting past, attracted teens looking for a thrill away from prying eyes. These gatherings often led to vandalism, as the influence of alcohol and drugs fueled destructive behavior. Graffiti stained the walls, windows were shattered, and the remnants of the hospital's history were further eroded by carelessness and revelry. It wasn't uncommon for the police to make arrests, as the damage caused by these trespassers became more severe. The summer carnival that took place in the late 1970s on the grounds of Mason General stood in stark contrast to the desolation. It was as if the echoes of laughter and the scent of cotton candy in the air for a brief moment breathed life back into a place overshadowed by its somber past. Yet, a few years later, the final chapter for the structures of Mason General would come with the demolition, turning the page on a significant piece of local law. Today, where the vast complex of Pilgrim State once stood, nature has begun to reclaim its territory. The sprawling grounds have transformed into a serene park, a stark contrast to the hospital's haunting history. Visitors who stroll through the park, amidst the tranquil trees and overgrown paths, might sense the echoes of the past whispering through the leaves. But, as twilight descends, some say the park transforms. Shadows lengthen, and the remnants of the old hospital buildings loom like silent sentinels. In the twilight hour, the boundary between past and present blurs. If you listen closely, the whispers of former patients and the ghostly remnants of a bygone era might just become perceptible. So, if you take a stroll through this park, stay a while as the day fades to night. You may just catch a glimpse of something, a fleeting shadow or a distant echo, a reminder of the mysteries and tales that Pilgrim State still holds within its legacy. We like to thank you for watching, and if you like, please subscribe, as we will be bringing interesting stories just like this. Go and visit Edgewood Preserve in Deer Park, New York. It's a mysterious place. Just don't get lost.